Hello and welcome back to Scholastically Natalie, where I am once again late. So my deepest apologies for that. I honestly couldn't tell you what happened. I got real excited about going home over the weekend and just deleted everything else from my ability to plan, as per usual. To be honest, um, working is just like wild. I also got a new microphone over this weekend. So if you think the noise is better, do let me know. It was on clearance on Amazon, so it means absolutely no guarantee as to sound quality, but I have tested it out just a few times briefly, and it seems to be working rather well. Um, at the very least, its stand is higher than my previous mic, and definitely higher than my mic who lives in a mug. Um, so I can only hope for great things just from that. This is at mouth level, without me having to put it on a precariously balanced shelf. Oh, good God, I really have just been a mess recently, haven't I? Today I figured we could just get back into the swing of things with a short journal entry. Today's prompt is number 28, Snowflake. People are like snowflakes. From a distance we seem the same, while close up we have distinct differences. What makes you unique? Design a snowflake that represents your uniqueness. Label at least 4 sections. And so for that, I was clearly intending for my students to draw. And since we do not have that option here, no, I do not count the weird line drawing mechanism as drawing. Well, I guess I could. Fine. We shall look. That's not the right one. Insert drawing new. So, if I was going to make a snowflake, do I have shapes here that would be easier to form one out of? Because I think what could be useful is making little triangles and, like, going from there. Because, like, if I at least have some evenly spaced out things, I think that would help. Possibly. I don't know, I'm mostly guessing. Uh, and then we could put one of these, and like turn it. Yeah, we can do that. So that's like, well, bam, instead. Then it can line up. I think this is working slowly. Then you go opposite here. Not bad, not bad, even if I do say so myself. Then the hard part is gonna be... There we go. So if I want to express my uniqueness... I don't love how I phrased that in this prompt, to be honest. But it's probably something we'll just have to live with. So what, can we make them all like touch noses here? Because that would probably be the best option. Do you not fit into that? Oh, the shame. What a glorious shame. Let's see, what if we do that? Then you can also do that. And, well, it's a bit more of a shape, I guess. Let's see. I'm still not entirely sure what shape I'm really going for here. Designing a snowflake to represent myself is an assignment I could certainly see myself setting, but it's definitely a very abstract and self-reflective concept that, to be honest, I'm not sure most high schoolers would be, like, up for. That's not even shade at high schoolers. I don't think many adults would really be up for it. Although, children are often much better at expressing their emotions than we are, so, like, I really should have more faith in them because they often do it so much better. I've seen so many of the Who I Am projects with people expressing their high schoolers usually, their interpretations of their identity, and some of those are chilling. Um, and so to see such introspective students is like amazing and glorious. Um, and I think it's great to be able to see them doing that, like just having that capacity and the wherewithal to think about who they are and what they're doing in life and like how they've turned out that way, or at the very least having some reflective understanding of how they might be perceived by the outside world versus the real them, which is often what that project is about. Because um, as teenagers, we are all plagued with the concept that we are the only person to have ever felt this way and view ourselves this certain way, despite many evidences to the contrary. Don't worry, I too did this. It's not really. Again, it's not a unique experience, ironically enough. Um, and I. It's such a fascinating concept that while we are aware that there are millions upon millions of human beings on this planet, we still sit there and go, no, 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 I'm the only person who's ever felt this way before. Which does make me laugh because it does kind of prove that ultimately we are all pretty egotistical. But, it's really the base nature of humanity, in my opinion. Sorry, I guess you're getting late night identity ramblings with me today. So, like, for me, the concept of making something to represent yourself will always end up being ultimately flawed, because there is no way to truly represent yourself without losing something in the process of it. Because as you're making things, you sit there and you go, wait, do I really want these people to know that about me? And, like, do I want them to know that I feel that way? And, like, as you second guess how you're showing yourself and, like, what ugly things you have, you change it. Make it more palatable for consumption. Then we all just ignore those dirty, gross feelings inside of us, and carry on. Which, I feel like we should all accept that we all suck sometimes. Like, I think it's a hard thing to swallow for most people that, like, their emotions can suck and they can suck. But, like, I don't know. Everybody has the potential to suck. The important part is that you try not to suck. And, like, if you're trying to do your best to not be mean to other people and bully them and tear them down, I think you're doing the best you can. And it's always interesting. But yeah, so as we all move towards making our own self-reflective pieces, oftentimes, especially as adults, we sit there and we're like, well, I don't want people to see this. I don't want people to see this part of me that is envious, that is hateful, feels certain ways about certain things. I don't want the greediness of me to be shown. When in truth we're all greedy in some way, shape, or form. It's for attention, money, affection, all things that you want. I think it's interesting. There's really no true way to interpret how other people interpret themselves. That's kind of the whole point of self-interpretation, and why, much like us, books, other people's experiences prompt such different responses from us, where we see ourselves in pieces of literature and we see other people in others, and that's how we grow and change, is by either identifying with other people or reading about those other experiences. My one professor loved to lecture us about empathy and mirror neurons when we were in class, and so we learned that when you do read something about a person different than you and their experiences, you will start to mirror their emotions. It's less than if it was in person, if you were watching somebody go through things in person, but you still understand and experience their emotions more than somebody who hasn't? And I think that is so fascinating because you are able, if you just diversify your reading, diversify what you're looking at, you can learn and grow and change, and I think that's wild. Um, and so for me, I've come up with this asymmetric snowflake. I don't know if this is what I would come up if I had a pen and paper in my hand. I feel like I might try to like incorporate my own interests and wants into it a bit more. But I feel like I am often overlapping back upon myself and overthinking things in that way. And I feel like I have a pretty good like core base that, while balanced, can be redundant. And then towards the edges, as I move forward and explore new things, I find myself being out of sync and out of step. At least that's what's been most recently on my mind. And I don't know. It's definitely interesting to see some of my thought processes laid out. And I mean, even my aesthetic choices. Again, I might have had limited options, but I'm sure some of you would have built a very different snowflake than me. And because this was always intended to be a short back into business video, that will be the end for today. This has been Late Night Personality Musings with Natalie and a new recording device. So let me know how you feel about the sound and this journal prompt. Would you like to make your own self-reflective snowflake? If you do, please share it with me on Twitter or in the comments if you're able to do that. I would love to see them. And perhaps your own musings on empathy and identification and how we interpret ourselves. And with that, I will leave you and finally go to bed. Scholastically Natalie is out.